Pieter, what was your life like before you got saved?
I grew up in a place where we used to go to church on Christmas Day and Good Friday, and we knew about God, but not really about salvation. And we grew up in ancestral worship. That's all we knew. We depended a lot on ancestral worship and going to nyangas and sangomas and so on and so forth. So that basically was a way of life. That's my background. That's where I come from. So pretty much everything went. I mean, we lived like sinners, and nobody would tell you that this is wrong or that's right. So.
And then what did it cause in your life? What was the outcome of going to the nyangas and witch doctors?
That type of system you have to maintain. You have to go back into it and pay lots of money, to keep on maintaining it, to get somebody to come to the house to strengthen the house. We would get cuts all over our bodies in the name of strengthening us and protecting us from evil or evil spirits and enemies and so on and so forth. But there was no real contentment or sense of direction and joy. I think the only thing that really mattered was the earthly success. Making it, get education, get a good job, and so on and so forth.
And then what brought you to that point of salvation that you said, I need to be saved, I need to change?
Yeah, for me, it was a series of people that came to me, approached me, and started telling me about Jesus when I was going through a very rough time in my life. I was literally losing my mind, and I had something going up and down my stomach. My mother took me to all the places you can imagine when I was a boy. Took me to nyangas, took me to sangomas, took me to all the places you can imagine. So when I started working, I worked for the bank, one of the major banks, and I had a medical aid. I took care of myself. I had my own personal doctor who referred me to specialists. Remember going to one of the major hospitals here in Parktown, where they did all kinds of tests, blood tests and G-scopes and all kinds of things, and nothing could help. So I never used to drink, I never used to smoke, although I chased women, and I thought I was the best of the best at everything. And it was at that time when nothing could help me. I started self-medicating with whiskey and brandy, and those were the only things that could help me just to relieve the pain, and to get a little bit of sanity. And that's when God started sending me people to witness to me. Well, there was a guy from work and another girl from work who started telling me about Jesus. I think the deliverance came when I was approached by people from church at Campus Square, inviting me to church. I came to church, and I remember there was an evangelist from the US, I can't remember his name exactly, and prayed for me, and I was delivered. And that's how I knew that Jesus had the power to save and to deliver above all other powers that exist in this world.
And lastly, if you have to tell anyone that are not saved, that are listening to your testimony, something that can stick to them, what would you tell them?
I would say there's a lot of joy in serving God, and there's a lot of peace, there's direction, and you make genuine friends in the kingdom of God. Out there is dog eat dog. You're on your own. People love you when you have money, when things are going well for you, but as soon as you fall into trouble, people disappear. But in the house of God, there's purpose. You're living for something real. You're living for what God has for you in store. And unless you find yourself in that place, there can never be true fulfillment and joy in life.
Thank you very much.